Hi, I'm Anastasia Gores, a web marketing strategist, creator of PilatesBridge.com, and the co-owner of S&V Marketing Inc. Managing and maintaining a website can be a real headache for many studio owners. Setting up a brand new website can be an overwhelming task, but even more importantly, after the website is set up, is it actually optimized to bring new clients through the studio doors? For a second, let's use our imagination and compare a studio website with an actual employee. What would be its current behavior? We have employee A, who's moving around the studio, picking up props, giving encouraging comments to the clients, basically being helpful. And we have employee 2, sitting in the corner, playing on their phone, completely oblivious to any of the studio needs. It's obvious that the first employee is the one that any studio would want. But many studio websites, they behave like this employee number 2, not really doing their job. The website should be the number 1 employee of any studio. It should be working 24/7, bringing in new clients and helping current ones find the information that they need, book their sessions, purchase services, you name it. It's the welcome community, front desk, marketing team all in one. But if it's done wrong, it can be actually turning people off and sabotaging your business. Competition can be really hard in the local Pilates communities and the local Pilates markets. So it's really important that the website is optimized for conversions, for the clients, for the visitors, so that the studio can have continuous growth. For the past 6 years, I've been working exclusively with Pilates studio owners, helping them build and maintain high-converting websites. As a Pilates instructor myself, I understand the ins and outs of the Pilates industry. But as a marketing coach and a web developer with over 12 years of experience, I bring this technical knowledge to the Pilates professionals to help them connect with their ideal clients. In this presentation, I would like to focus on the exact steps that I take with each and every one of my clients to create high-converting websites that are recognized for their clean, clear design and a high-end feel. You will come away with the easy-to-implement practical steps that will actually bring real results. So let's get to it. How to get more clients from the web. The anatomy of a high-converting studio website. Okay, so let's get started. Our topic today is clean and clear design that converts. So we're going to be talking about the essential anatomy of a winning website. We all know, since we're movement professionals, we all know the importance of anatomy. But a lot of times we don't really think about our website as having some kind of structure or anatomy or things like that. So we'll put it in those simple terms. One of the things that I hear a lot from my clients and just people on different forums is that they get overwhelmed with their website. What should they put on their website? How much time they should spend on it? What platform? What words? What images? All that stuff. And if you're just not really familiar with the whole website design and the whole aspect of technology, online presence, it can really take over your life. And if you are running a business, you need time to focus on the business, whether you're teaching or doing administrative work or anything like that. You don't really have a whole lot of time to be figuring out all this website stuff. So in this presentation, I will give you several very practical steps that will help your website become a money-making machine for you. So it will keep working for you 24/7. So just since you might be wondering who in the world am I already mentioned a little bit. I'm a web developer, web designer, Pilates instructor, and my focus is on driving conversions for studios. So I bring over about 7 years of targeted work with studios, Pilates, yoga, different kind of health coaching studios and businesses to this presentation. And I would like to share with you what we learned and what are some of the mistakes and some of the discoveries that we made along the way. So today, we will learn how to get
more clients from your website without spending a whole lot of money on ads. Actually, we're not going to be talking about any ads at all. And we're also going to be talking about the most important information to include on your website. You will also, if we have time, we're going to touch on a little bonus of like some of the mistakes or things that you should never, ever put on your website at all. Let's see. So here's our anatomy of a website that converts. If, as a student, as a business owner, which option would you choose? You have two options to choose a website design to pay for it. Same price, everything. Option one, you create a stunning website layout with some of the cool effects, maybe some transitions, sliders, maybe some videos playing in the background, all the stuff, all the whistles and bells. Option two is creating a website that simply drives more traffic to your business, brings you new clients. So which option would you choose? I would imagine as a business owner, you will go with the guaranteed business growth, because this is the bottom line, is that we need more money, we need more clients, we need our studios to grow. And unfortunately, when I work with many studios, they choose option one because maybe they wanted to create their own website, or they saw some cool things here and there and they kind of pieced it all together, and as a result, they end up with a kind of like a Frankenstein of a website that's not really optimized for conversions. It's not really optimized for anything, but it just merely kind of represents different pieces and aesthetical things that that particular studio owner likes. But we really need to take into consideration the research, the statistics, everything that's available to us in order to make calculated decisions of what to put on our website. So there are two important parts of a website. First of all, your website must be found online. So we're going to be talking a little bit, just kind of touch upon the SEO. Most of the people have heard about it, they know that they need it, but have no clue what it is and what to do about it. The second part is we're going to be talking about the actual layout that must be easy for the visitor to understand and to navigate. SEO. So what in the world is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization. Basically, any website for any business has to have an SEO strategy. The algorithms, the factors, they change a lot. And if your website cannot be found online, then you will never get any new clients from it, correct? So we should always pay attention to that rather than leaving it as like on the back burner. It's like, oh, one day I'll learn about it. And one of the first steps of an important SEO strategy is making sure that your website has good bones. So it's really important how your website is actually built. Does your website use error-free code? Is it fast to load? And most importantly, is it mobile friendly? If you are using some older layouts, older websites, most likely, some of the stuff is not supported anymore, it's outdated. So make sure that your website follows the most current guidelines. And that can be maybe you're using a website builder, or you have a developer who built website for you, you're using WordPress, whatever it is, just make sure that it has a good structure with no errors and no problems there. And one, I just mentioned that it's really important that your website has good bones, and one of it, making sure that your website is built with a mobile first approach. In 2015, Google announced that they will use mobile friendliness as a ranking factor. And since then, it even became more prominent. So Google actually will give a slight boost in rankings to websites that are mobile friendly. And as of 2018, it's becoming a more prominent factor for them. If you're wondering if your website is, sorry. If you're wondering if your website is mobile friendly, you can, here's like the URL that you can go to. It's a free Google tool that anybody can use to test their website. If you can't type in this URL, no problem. We'll add it somewhere in the comments. Or also you can just type in Google mobile friendliness test Google, and you'll come up to this URL. Just test your website and see how well it performs. Our next important part is the security of your website. So whether your website uses the HTTP in front of the URL or HTTPS, the S basically represents that your website uses a secure protocol. And again, Google has been always kind of like being the top search engine. We always care about being in the top positions on Google. In 2014, Google started its HTTPS Everywhere initiative, giving websites with HTTPS a boost in their rankings as well. And as of October of 2018, which is like right here, just passed, actually Google views it as an important factor, and it will start showing kind of a nasty red warning for all in their Chrome browser to any websites that don't use secure connection. So you don't want, here's what it will look like. So take a look at this picture. See, it has a little triangle, not secure, doesn't have the padlock that Safari uses, Firefox. You really don't want your customer, your potential client, coming to a website and seeing that it's not a secure website, because they're not going to feel safe completing any transaction on your website, correct? Or even giving you their email address or anything like that. Just make sure that your website uses a secure connection. And most of the website builders like Squarespace, Wix, they offer that for free. If you're using most of the website providers, you can purchase a premium SSL certificate through them, or they're also free options, but you just have to install them. Next part are the search keywords. It's really important that you tell Google or any other search engine what your website is all about. How do you think a search engine will know what your website, what kind of services you're offering, and what location you're offering them in if you never mention it on your website? So your main location-based keywords must be present in your site title tag, meta keywords and descriptions, and in the website copy. If the first two kind of seem like, oh, you have no idea what they're all about, this is some of the parameters that tags there are used in a website, kind of on the, this is not the actual copy that people will see coming to your website, but it's used internally to give search engines an idea of what your business is all about. And most, again, both like if you have your website on WordPress or if you're using a builder, all of them, most of them will have a way for you to add that information. So you can learn more about it, just Google it, you'll find plenty of information there. But it's important also what kind of keywords you use. So a lot of times I see people just using very generic words. For example, Pilates, yoga, they're trying to rank for those, like flexibility, gym. Well, you know, most people are not going to search for those words. They're going to be searching for something very targeted. Let's say I'm located near Charlotte, North Carolina. So if I were to look for a Pilates studio in my area, I'll be looking for Pilates Charlotte or Pilates studio in Charlotte, North Carolina, or something along those lines. So try to focus on those smaller targeted keywords rather than going for all this like general, not really relevant phrases. Go very specific, use the names of the locations, any of the geographical landmarks in the areas, maybe like uptown or like a particular neighborhood that people will be searching for. Use that throughout your copy. It's really important. So let's do a quick recap. In order to really win at the SEO of some of the on-page factors that we focused over here, you need to make sure that your website is mobile friendly, that your website is secure, it uses an SSL connection, and that you have your location keywords in the website copy and in the important title tags. So finally, we're coming to the important part. So what actually will make your website inviting to your visitors? Of course, we all want we all want our websites to be inviting. So what does it mean? So let's look at several stats first that I kind of pulled for you guys. So 66% of people would pay more for the product if it delivers consistent branding throughout all platforms. It's pretty powerful, right? It kind of shows that it's really important that your website looks good and you have the same brand, your logos, your fonts, your everything, images, everything is consistent, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, website, it's not patched together. Over 60% say that they will the aesthetics of the website will influence their decision to to whether to do business or not. Actually, a lot of people out of this number, about 36 of them said that clear and smart, as they called it, design will give business more credibility. And another 32% said that having a website will make them more likely to contact a local business. Obviously, the most important page on your website is the home page, because it's the most visited page on your website. It's the first impression that most people will get. And most of the time, you get only one chance to impress your website visitor. If they don't like your homepage or are not able to find what they need right away, they will never come back. If your website is not performing for you, it's making you lose business. You will never get a second chance to make first impression. It couldn't be any more true for website copy. So make sure, and in the further steps, we'll talk about how to make sure that that first impression of your website is just amazing. So let's first focus on the layout. It's important that we focus on the layout that is most likely to convert. Many people think that desktop layout with like sliders and all these cool things is what will attract their best clients. And some other people think like, oh, and I talk to studio owners like that, say, oh, I had a website built when I first opened my studio 5-10 years ago. It's good enough. It's not good enough. If you want your website to grow, you want to make sure that your layout, this website layout, is consistent with the current trends. And there's only one thing that you will take away from this presentation. This should be it. Mobile is the king of local business sales. It's, think about it yourself. If you're looking for a local service, where would you go? Most likely you're going to be driving or maybe somewhere else, and you'll just type in, yoga near me or something like that. Are you going to go to a desktop website to look for something like that? Most likely not. Most of the time you will use your maybe even voice search. Have you ever searched for like, Google show me Mexican restaurants near me or something along those lines? So mobile is really the king of local business sales, and this is where most people find local businesses. But what happens if your website is not optimized for mobile? So let's take a look at some of this information. 69% of media time is spent on mobile devices. 48% of buyers use smartphones to start searching. 88% of consumers who search for a local business on mobile device call or visit that business within 24 hours. And 96% of mobile search traffic is driven by Google. Take a look at those numbers, 88, 96%. So the majority of your traffic to your studio is going to be mobile traffic. And it's really important that your website is optimized for that. just in fact, just did you ever spend any money on some kind of social media advertising or posted links to your website from your social posts? And most of the time, people who click on those links, they are the ones viewing your posts on their phones. About 80% of all social media time is spent on mobile devices. So if they already click that link, you already persuaded them to come to your business, and they come up to a website that they just can't navigate on a mobile device. You lost them. You wasted your time and your money on something that will not convert. So here's a good example of a website that has a completely non-mobile friendly layout. I came found this website when I was just doing some marketing research for one of my clients, and this is what I found. Again, how are you supposed to navigate this on a mobile device? It's impossible. And so a couple more numbers for you, just hopefully you're not tired of them. We're just kind of really trying to drive home the point that mobile layout is important for your website. 57% of users say they won't recommend a business with a poorly designed mobile site. And 61% of users are unlikely to return to a mobile site if they had trouble accessing it. And 40% will visit a competitor instead. So if you don't have a great mobile experience, you're literally sending your potential clients to your competitor. We don't want to be doing that. So here's a quick recap, a quick checklist of what's important for your mobile layout. Website should load fast on mobile devices. It should have a mobile menu where all buttons and links are easy to see and click. You shouldn't be serving any annoying pop-ups or sliders or any kind of autoplay videos or sound. Thankfully, those ones are pretty much gone, but I still see them every once in a while. And all website elements should be sized using responsive utilities so that all the you don't have like letters the size of the screen, or user doesn't have to scroll horizontally through the content in order to view your pricing. Things like that are very common on many websites that I see. So what does every website need? I hope by now you agree with me that about the importance of the mobile layout, but you're probably still wondering, what should my homepage look like to be optimized for conversions? I need more practical steps. So this is exactly what we're going to focus on next. If you've been waiting for some actionable steps that will help you get more calls from your website, then don't miss this info that I'll be sharing with you right now. I follow many Facebook forums, and a lot of times people ask for inspiration for studio websites and things like that, because maybe they'll like to put their own website together using one of the builders, or they've tried using WordPress. But as I mentioned earlier already, a lot of times if you don't really know what you're doing, you end up with a Frankenstein of a website that's not optimized for yourselves, for your studio. You're doing yourself a disservice. If you really enjoy being creative with your website and would really like to do it, then all the steps that I'm going to share with you right now are going to be the ones that you can use yourself in order to really improve your website look and conversions. Life moves pretty fast, and it's especially true for website visitors. So we can all agree with Ferris Bueller. We all know that the attention span of an average person has become dangerously low. We can thank social networks and constant stream of information for that. In fact, did you know that an average website visitor has an attention span between 4 and 7 seconds, putting it below that of an infamous goldfish? If your landing page is not organized and doesn't offer information that your web visitor is looking for right away, then they will go and check out your competitor. So here are the exact elements that you need to focus on right away. We're going to talk about all 5 of these steps. So first, it's going to be functional layout, direct call to action, engaging images, clean navigation, and several of the building blocks, basically what kind of copy what you should put on your website. Functional layout. As a boutique studio owner, you're all about making your clients be fit and healthy. Then, if a person comes to you with a particular goal, you know what to give them. If they're coming to improve their flexibility, you're not going to put them on a treadmill. If they're coming to you as a rehab, you're not going to make them do some plyometrics jumps, right? The layout that you choose for your homepage should be functional and created with your end goal in mind the same way. So there's a goal for your website to convert. So whatever you put on your website, right, your workout, your program, this is what's going to be optimized for your end goal, your end result. 77% of visitors do not scroll, and they see only above the fold content on your website. So whatever is the first thing that they see when they just open up a web page, a lot of times that's going to be their only experience of your brand. Make sure that whatever they see will really engage them, would really make them want to spend more than those 4 seconds on your web page. And make sure that it doesn't take your website 10 seconds to load, because then you're never getting that chance. Make sure website is fast, you're not using any sliders. I'm gonna keep repeating that over and over again. Hopefully it will stick and with you guys, and really make sure that you put in your best content at the top of the page. So here's just an example of one of the websites, like the studios that I recently worked with. You've probably seen hundreds, if not thousands, of websites that use this kind of layout. It's called hero image. You see, so there's an image with a little bit of text and a button. The reason why this particular layout is used so often is because it converts. It's a great way to present the information, give just the bite size of the information about your business, and drives conversions. So here's an example of what we ended up with. Now take a look at this next slide. It's the same hero image, but it looks kind of blank, kind of, you don't really know what to do with it, doesn't it? And all we did is just took out our call to action buttons and our tagline. And now all of a sudden it's all kind of looks empty and like you're not really sure what you're supposed to do with this. A lot of times studios will use this beautiful image for their hero, or like at the top of the website that will take up some prime real estate, but they will not make it work for them. They will not put any buttons, any text, nothing. So it ends up just being an empty space. Think about it. If you owned prime real estate and you're paying taxes on it, right? But you refuse to put any business in it that would make you any money. Would it be a smart thing to do? No. So make sure that if you have a great image over here, make sure that it's not a slider, and make sure that there is some text and some action buttons. And if you're wondering how to present this information, here is what is called a Z pattern layout. Without going into too much detail, basically what it is, it shows the pattern, the eye tracking pattern that the eye follows when coming to a website. So they'll see a logo. It's going to be great if they have some kind of sign up button here. Here we have our image, maybe text, and call to action button. This is how we read it. This is how our eyes move on the page. And that's why it's a good way to present information on your hero image. And here's our same example. And I just used little arrows to show you how we implemented this Z layout over here. And in fact, I just finished this layout a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago. And about 2 weeks afterwards, Carrie, the owner of the studio, she emailed me and said, oh, I just wanted to tell you that after we did a redesign the website, in the first week, they received 4 new client signups just from the website itself. So instead, oh, we've never, it's been a while since we received any interest or any kind of clients from the website, period. So that just shows you that just putting different design using smart elements on the website can easily increase those conversions, make the website work for you. Our next part would be the direct call to action. We already know that your visitor came to your website, to your homepage, because they're interested in the services that you offer. But, what should they do next? You should give them the direct call to action, direct message that they should follow to continue. Make sure that you create a simple and clear tagline, just like in the example website that I just showed you. Make sure that you tell them exactly what they will gain from coming to your studio, from working out at your studio, from working with you. So here are a couple of the examples of the taglines that I've seen before that are kind of very vague and not really speaking to their ideal audience. Like, the first one is the very common Pilates studio tagline. Movement is the first prerequisite of happiness. Second one is actually a tagline that I found on one of the local kind of cycling studios in the area. New to Z Fitness, it's not their real name. Check out the free intro session and new client specials. Well, I don't even know what you offer. Why should I be checking out your intro specials and intro sessions and new client specials? Tell me, what am I supposed to get from working with you? To write an engaging tagline is really, it might take a couple of times for you to kind of really nail it, but here are a couple of things that you can keep in mind. Identify what your customer wants and communicate to them simply. Don't make it a 3-line or a whole paragraph of text that nobody would read. How will your business make your customers' life better? Talk to them. What do you do? Do you help people feel better? Do you make them stronger? Do you help them get back into their pre-pregnancy bodies? Whatever it is, talk about it. Avoid the curse of knowledge. So don't assume that everybody in the world knows exactly what the technical, the anatomical terms. They know, like, one of the popular words today are fascia. So like, you'll see that fascia thrown all over the place. People coming to your studio, they don't know anything. They just want to feel better and reach their goals. And keep it short. So here are the same taglines that we had before, but they kind of rewrote them, improved them slightly. For example, the first one, the movement is the first prerequisite of happiness. To give you an idea of how we can change that. Rediscover happiness of pain-free movement. So our focus here is going to be a rehab client, somebody maybe a kind of like PT-based program, they're really focusing on dealing with some pain issues. Another option, handcrafted Pilates to make you feel good in your body. A little bit kind of encompasses a little bit more like a larger population, so we feel good in your body. Maybe that emphasizes the fact that it's personalized training. You're not going to the Y. It's actually developed for you, and it will make you feel better. And our Z Fitness one is going to be transformed into Get Stronger in 30 minutes. That's it. That's a cycle and suspension training studio. Get stronger. People come in there, most likely this is what they want to do, and they have short 30-minute workouts. So here you have Get Stronger in 30 minutes. Simple. Another thing to keep in mind, so we came up with a good tagline. Now we need to give people something to do, and this is where our CTA, or call to action button, comes in. Basically, this is the button that tells people what to do and send them to the link to the next step of what they should do. Here's a website, one of the websites that I did a review for. Can you find a CTA button over here, their main button? It's hidden. Like, Over here we have the button, and over here, if you look closely, you'll see it. But when we're talking about CTAs, want to make sure that it stands out, it has enough contrast, and it gives them something easy to follow. So here's some of the good examples. For most of the studios, it can be used: book now, schedule a visit, start my free trial if this is something that you offer, book a class, try for free, schedule my session. You can really get creative with those, but keep it simple and just really talk about what you're offering. Engaging images. Images are probably one of the most important parts of the website, because this is something that would engage people. People don't come to a website to read text. Actually, they're bored with text, and it's really a miracle if somebody will read something above a sentence or 2 sentences long, unless, if it's their first visit. So the images should be doing all the heavy lifting for your website. When we're talking about images, we need to make sure that our images are high resolution. They're not stock images. It's preferable that you have people in that image, because most of the studies show that people are attracted to the faces of other people, especially if these are good-looking people. Uncluttered background, so you don't want to see a mess in the background of your studio. And you can also represent an image of success. So what are some of the results, the goals that clients are coming to your studio for? Make sure that your image represents that. Clean navigation. So this is another really important part that many studios really mess up. When it comes to navigation, simplicity is probably the best thing. You don't need 10 lines of navigation options on your website. Make sure that your website is easy to understand. Sometimes I see people making this really clever and witty names for their navigation items just because they want to stand out. Here are some of the examples that I've heard. I've seen actually, for the About page, they use discover. What are we discovering? What is it? How is it? How am I supposed to know what am I supposed to discover on this page? Another one, testimonials, page for testimonials named kind words. Well, maybe there are kind words, but again, if I'm looking for reviews or testimonials, I'm looking for those particular words. Contact us page named submit a form. What kind of form? Why should I be submitting a form or anything? I don't even know who you are or what you offer. So make sure, keep it simple, very simple, but just so that people can understand. Next thing is use items that people expect to find on a website. This is another thing that I see many studios really struggling with. They don't really know what they should put, what pages. So here are a couple that I always recommend adding. Obviously, your homepage, description of services that you offer, whether it's Pilates, yoga, whatever it is, classes, membership. About page that describes who you are, what your studio does, things like that. Your rates, how to schedule or sign up. Contact us page, really important. And also it's going to be a bonus if you have a how to get started or new clients start here page of some sorts, because it makes it really, that onboarding process, really easy for the clients. Next thing is keeping a minimum amount of pages in top level navigation. Most studies and most marketing experts agree that 6, 7 tops is the number of pages that you should have. Everything else has to go into a drop-down menu maybe, or just move it to the footer if it's not that important, link to it from other pages, but don't clutter your navigation. And again, next thing is make sure that your navigation is mobile friendly. Oh, one thing we did forget is just positioning your navigation properly, and we're going to touch upon it. So sometimes people like to put navigations in some strange places, for example, at the bottom of the page or in the left-hand sidebar. So these are some of the heat maps or eye tracking studies that show where people are actually looking on the page. And you can see this is our main content. So if we put the navigation over here, nobody will find it. We put navigation at the top where you would see it on most of the websites. This is where people expect to find it. Again, same here, like this is actually an example of a Google page. Still, it has some of the navigation items and search box over here at the top, and this is where people are looking. So make sure that your navigation is in a spot where people can find it so that they can convert, they can contact you or schedule a session. And here's just a quick example of what a mobile-friendly navigation looks like. Most people know that if you looked at any of the websites on your phone, just a little hamburger icon or something, like some kind of toggle to open up navigation. Next, we're moving on to the building blocks of the website. So, like, the good part is here. We have focused so much on above the fold content of your homepage, so we should be done, right? But no, we're just really the beginning, but we're going to focus on this really fast right now. We need to give our visitors a bit more content to choose so that they're positive that your studio is the right choice for them. Good content on a homepage will not only help your visitors get acquainted with your brand, but it will also improve search engine rankings of your website. Here's one of the things that happens a lot on many homepages that I see. They create anorexic homepages. We know as health and movement professionals how unhealthy it is, but this is the exact thing that people do to their business owners do to their websites. And an anorexic homepage sends a signal of low quality and low relevance to Google, and it doesn't really talk to your ideal client. So this is one of the examples that I found on the web. This is the whole homepage. No text, none of our tagline, nothing. It's actually like a slider that keeps going, and it even has a music playing, which is even more annoying. How much content that you should put? Most of the top landing pages on Google have about 650 words on the homepage. Not too much, not too little, but just enough to give your ideal clients and search engines enough information about your business. We'll want to avoid cluttered homepages. So now some people go really overboard with the content and all the images and everything that they put on the website, and they end up with something like this. Again, one of the examples that I just found is just, you don't know where to look over here. It's too much. It's distracting. Winning homepage layout. Here there are quick checklist of what I want you to focus on. Make sure that it has 650 words, somewhere in that ballpark. We need to have visual blocks with sufficient white space around them so all content is not smushed together. We need to have images with consistent color scheme, preferably not stock images so that you really can develop your brand identity. You should have short sentences, not 3 miles long paragraphs over there, bullet points, and engaging headlines. So I created a little wireframe, kind of an example of what a good homepage would look like, and I'm just gonna make it a little larger for you. So we focused on this whole part. So this is our above the fold content. This is our hero with a Z pattern here. We're gonna have our intro offer of some sorts, or maybe you have a newsletter subscription, which is also a great thing. Next, you're gonna talk about the problem that your clients might have and how maybe like why they come into your studio, what kind of problems can you solve for them? Mention some of the simple steps, how they can get started, even if it's something, call the studio, set up your session, come 10 minutes early, something like that, or Go to online schedule, pick your package, sign up for a session, something very simple, but it makes people comfortable with the whole process and they know exactly what to do. Step one, step two, step three. Next part is going to be why you understand them or showing them some kind of empathy, that you know their problems. You can talk a little bit about um, maybe your background. Let's say if you're a physical therapist, or maybe you had lower back problems and then you discovered Pilates and it fixed everything, or anything that would really relate to it. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything like that, but just, or maybe your credentials, how you studied a particular problem and you're really an expert on it. Just make sure that people coming to your website understand that you are the person to come to. We can show our authority over here. So maybe you've been featured in some of the publications. Maybe you have some happy customer testimonials to share. Let's do that over here. Just keep it short. Again, we don't need the whole manuscripts over here. Share a little bit about your company or your studio in particular. We don't need to give the full history of Pilates or the full background of yoga over here. Just a little something short about either you, if you're a single person, single provider, or about the business in general. Description of services. Obviously, it's important for people to know what kind of services you provide. It can be a single description, several different things. And location and contact. Super important that this location and content and contact are present over here, so that people can, if they're on the mobile device, they don't want to click away, they can get in touch with you right away. So the less clicks they have to make on your website, the higher conversion is going to be. If you have an email list, we can put our get on the email list content over here. So this is pretty much sums up our homepage design. If you have any kind of questions, I would recommend one of the great books, really learning more about the content to put on the website, called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And it's really great. You can find it on Amazon or anywhere. It will really help you clarify your message and figure out what you want to put there. So we're going to go through a couple of our mistakes in our bonuses. One that I see a lot are the sliders and carousels. So just kind of, if you keep looking at this image, your head will probably start spinning a little bit, or you start getting a headache. So let me spare you of that. What do you know what this number represents? 1%. This is actually a click-through rate for website sliders. And this is based on the testing done by the University of Notre Dame. So only 1% of the people, they ran this test for 6 months on their main website. They had a slider going on there. Only 1% of all the people clicked on the slider, and 89% of those people clicked only on the first slider. So if you feel that you have really too much to say and really would like to offer those sliding images, think otherwise. Really rethink and change your idea. You're wasting your, again, prime real estate, your website, your website visitors' attention on something that will never ever convert. Don't do that. Next mistake that I see is having large images or videos that prevent the loading of the website. So you had a photo shoot and you ended up uploading that high resolution, beautiful image to the website. And now your website takes like 5 minutes to load. Or, back in the days, people used to use Flash, and that was also horrible. Thankfully, that's not used anymore, but make sure that your website, if you're uploading images or video, make sure that they're optimized for web. Cluttered menus. We talked about menus a lot already, but take a look. This is one of the websites, again, that I found. Here's their menu. First of all, not the ideal location. And look at all the options. You cannot figure out what to go to. Studio rental, community resources, medias, yoga podcast, everything. It's just too much clutter. Keep it short and simple so that people can find exactly what they need. Weird color combinations. Choose colors that are simple and easy on the eye. So here's an example. This text is hard to read. You should also keep in mind people who have some kind of color vision issues. There are many people like that, and they will not be able to read your website copy viewed. So make sure that there's enough contrast on your website and that the colors are just clean and crisp. Long paragraphs. Another problem, especially with some of the older websites, people have so much to say and they really want to stuff it into all the pages, especially their homepage. There are some pages where you can do that if you're given some kind of research or a little bit more information, but don't stuff your homepage with ton of text. Too many links or events, another thing. Keep your homepage to the point. You don't want to be sending too many signals, too many messages to your potential clients. Make it simple. The main point of your homepage is to drive conversions, to make those new clients sign up. People who've been to your website before, they can come to your blog and click on the links. They already know, they're already your clients. They are easy to convert and something like that. Talk to your ideal clients first-time ideal clients. So this kind of sums it up. I really encourage you to keep it simple, keep your design clean, and if you have any questions, if you need some kind of help figuring it all out, you can always get in touch with me. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions or do an audit of your website or anything like that. Just don't get overwhelmed. And if you feel that, give yourself permission to hire somebody, an expert who can help you with that. You don't have to do it all. Focus on the things that you do best, and that's running your studio. If you want to connect with me, you can do that at my email, core@pilatesbridge.com, or you can also find me on my website, pilatesbridge.com. You can find me on Facebook or any other services. So thanks so much for listening. I hope you learned a lot from this presentation.